This is not a very flattering light. I'm sitting in my chair and you're just on the stand for the phone. This is your alopecia girl coming at you from the UK, Life and Hair. And I wanted to talk about my lunch date with my old friend. I said I hadn't seen her for 15 years. Actually, it's longer than that. Now, we used to know each other. We met actually when I was about 20. We had a little job together. We met. We were two girls about town. I mean, footloose and fancy free. No responsibilities except to just keep ourselves alive. Living in London, going clubbing whenever, usually a couple of times in the week and every day at the weekend. And living a very indulgent and fun, exciting life. Having a whale of a time as young, beautiful women. She was amazing. Wow. Her posture, she just held herself in the most upright way. She was so amazing. We obviously, when I moved from London to the countryside in 1995, we didn't see each other that often. But a couple of years later, she came to visit me here at this house, maybe once or twice, 18 years ago. That's how long it's been. But you know how friends, you have them on your mind sometimes. Sometimes they just pop into your mind for no reason. And I've always had her in mind over the last few years. Seeing her again was amazing. She hadn't really changed that much, other than she was wearing a hat. And I said to her, you know, I told you a few years ago, many years ago, that I had problems with my hair and my hair went through periods of shedding and it was kind of like alopecia. She said, yeah, I've had problems too. That's why I'm always in a hat. And if I'm not wearing my hat, then I kind of wear a bandana scarf over my head. And we talked about that. I couldn't believe that another person was having the same kind of problems that I was. The only difference is, I think she's maybe 1 or 2 years younger than me, is that she's doing the whole minoxidil route and, you know, taking all the lotions and potions for her hair, etc. And she said she's really committed to doing that. She doesn't mind how much it costs. She just wants to have her hair back. Well, of course, I made all the right noises, but in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, you know, your hair may never grow back, you know? And then I thought that I would share with her the thing with a weave. And the only reason I know, and from the little that I know, I actually had gotten off Instagram. Ladies, do you sometimes come across these businesses? As you're scrolling on Instagram, you come across this service that kind of puts a mesh over your head where your hair is sparse. And no matter how sparse it is, it doesn't really matter because they somehow or other, I don't know how, attach the mesh to your head and then they actually sew in hair. So they sew in hair everywhere. So effectively, it's like a topper that you don't remove. And then once the hair is sewn in, they kind of cut everything into a hairstyle. And then several weeks later, you go to have it taken off and replaced. She seemed to think this was a really good idea. And it never occurred to me that she would not have tried this thing before. By the way, excuse me, I'm in my apron. I'm alone in the house. Stephen has just had dinner and he's gone out to meet friends. My daughter isn't back yet. So I'm kind of catching up with you. We're kind of having an evening. Of course, we did a lot of catching up and I spoke about my life as it is now. I reminded her that I'd been married for 24 years now. She couldn't believe it. And funny how her life has taken such a different turn to mine. She went down such a different road. She didn't have any children. And I'm not altogether sure that that was a conscious choice. Maybe she just was never in the right position to have children. Maybe she decided that it was never the right time. It reminds me of another friend of mine who always was waiting for the right time. The right time never came. And she looked up one day and realized that it was too late for her. And it's difficult, when you want something, but you miss the boat, I told her, my children, they're grown up. One is 31, the other one is 28. I've been married many, many years. And I'm a grandmother. And these things, these relationships that are in my life, they are at the center of my life, and they fill up my time. And my life is quite rich with relationship as far as these close people to me are. But I tell you something, it wasn't all just bad luck, I guess, that she's in this situation. She had a situation where she had been seeing a man for the last 20 years, but the man was married. And he always gave her the feeling that he was going to leave his wife and start a relationship with her and commit with her. Until eventually she realized that this guy was never going to leave his wife. When I reflected on it from an outsider's point of view, kind of objectively, I realized what this man has stolen from this woman. He's literally gone like an interloper into her life and stolen time from her and stolen opportunity. She could have been with somebody else, building a life that was serving her so much better. And it was the strangest thing, because when I met her, she said that she had broken it off with this man several months ago, but he had called her that very morning. And so as we were talking about it at the dinner table, when we were having lunch, when she said, "What do you think I should do? I don't know what to do." I just took the opportunity to just give her some empowerment and put things into a bit of perspective for her, and say to her that she really does deserve better, and that she's already given this situation 20 years. And I wanted the next 20 years to count. I wanted the next 20 years of her life to make her feel built up rather than pillaged, basically. I really feel that this interloper has gone in and he's pillaged her life. Now, isn't it funny, as women, we have these relationships with these men, the bad relationships, I mean. And likewise, men also have these bad relationships with women. But, because I'm a woman, I can really kind of just talk from my own point of view. We never really see it for what it is, because the charming words, the flattery, the sweet nothings are still ringing in our ears, aren't they? And they make us think that he had reasons, that he had reasons not to deliver what he promised, or that it was just around the corner, or that he's a really nice guy, really. The very first thing she said to me about him was, how charming he was, how capable he was, how confident he was, and how totally creative he was, because this guy really knew how to get what he wanted, from people. And she just was unfortunate enough to have been in his way, so that they ended up having this blooming relationship for so long. But to think that all of the years that I've been married, having children, bringing them up, she's been entangled with this guy. Actually, it's something that is very unfair, isn't it? I can almost hear you guys saying, well, she had the choice, She didn't have to give her whole life to him. She could have just cut it off. But I think from what she said is that she was very attached to the excitement, the chemistry. The chemistry can be lethal, can't it? But at the end of the day, he remained where he was. And the good news, though, is that she has got another relationship with somebody else. Now, ironically, isn't it always the way? She described the current relationship as kind of staid, a little bit lackluster, definitely not as exciting as the previous one. And I said to her, sweetheart, in 5 years' time, you're going to be about 60. Hot bedroom action is really not going to be that important to you. I mean, think not only about where you are now, but where you're going to, the person you're going to be, the older version of yourself. When you are in your 60s, I mean, I feel like that already. You just want peace. You want peaceful relationships. You want security and trust and understanding. And a kind of a relationship where the togetherness is warm and familiar. Now, obviously, unless the man you're with or the woman you're with is beating you or abusing you in some way, to say that, let's say you're having it's just a normal average relationship. Thinking about the future, the older you, and the needs you're likely to have at that time is so essential. Hot bedroom action, what's that going to, I just personally don't get it. I don't get it at all. What's more important is somebody who likes you, who respects you. That's another thing. I was sitting there listening to her story and thinking, she really thinks that this man liked her and respected her. That's the cleverness of this guy, that he was able to get into her head like that with this notion. But there is no element of liking someone when you go in and rob them of 20 years of their life. You have to have disdain for that person. You have to have a selfishness about you that utterly disregards the other person's needs and fairness, justness. Wow, what a story, man. What a story. And then we got on and had an extremely expensive lunch for a very modest place. The lunch came to £110. And I mean, I had a piece of fish this big and some vegetables, but I did have some Baileys. I had 2 double Baileys. Well, I was taking the train. For once I could go out and actually have a drink and enjoy myself. And we talked. There was no awkward silences. We just took up from where we left off. We had so many memories to remember. And I felt great in what I wore. She complimented me, and um, I think I was wearing Mila. Now, Mila, I've been wearing Mila all day today. I don't know what you ladies do, but usually when I've got just a few wigs by the side of my dressing table, I kind of just pick the top one off, and if it's suitable for work, I'll just put it on. And so I've been wearing Mila because obviously I worked yesterday and today. Um, so I just wanted to catch you up with this. I'm going to upload this tonight, and just another little bit of story time.